Shalom Yashrael. This study comes about as a result of a brother who recently responded to one of my posts, and this is what he had to say. You know the Most High's name isn't Yahuah or Jehovah. It is Ahaya. Read Exodus 3:14 and 15. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to read it not only in English but in Hebrew as well. Because when we do that, we will see undeniable biblical proof that Ahaya is not the name. And this is a big reason I will always support Hebrew literacy, because even though you don't need to know Hebrew to be saved, knowing the language, as you're about to see, helps to cut through all of the false doctrine and teaching out there. Now the gentleman said, read Exodus 3:14 and 15. But we're going to start at Exodus 3, verse 12, because by just going 2 verses earlier, we get a revelation about the name Ahaya. So we are going to turn to Shemut, or Exodus chapter 3, verse 12. And this is what it says in the Hebrew. Uyamarki Ahaya Amka Uze Lecha Ha'ut Ki Anoki Shalaktika Behutziakai Alefta Ha'em B'Mitzrayim Ka'abdun Alefta Ha'Elohim Al-Hahar Hazeh. In the English it says, he said, but I will be with you, and this shall be the sign for you, that I have sent you. When you have brought forth the people out of Egypt, you shall serve Elohim upon this mountain. Now what I want us to catch is at the very beginning of this verse. You'll see it highlighted in the red. Ahaya is there. But it's not the name. He's not saying his name there. He's saying something else. Now, if you're like Arnold right now, you're probably going to be saying this.
What you talking about?
Let me explain. In the Hebrew, Ahaya is the English phrase, I will be. And as we are going to see, it's often also translated in English as I am. The proof that this is the word Ahaya can be seen that with the Aleph is the first letter, the second letter is the Hey, the third letter is the Yod, and then the last letter is the Hey again. So it is definitely Ahaya being said here. But again, the Most High is not saying his name here. He's simply saying, I will be. And that's highlighted there in the English. So as we can see, this creates quite a dilemma, because in the next verse that we're going to read, we are going to see Moses, or Moshe, asking the Most High what his name is. And apparently, just from reading the last verse in Exodus 3:12, he already said Ahaya. So why would Moses be asking what his name is if he had already said his name, Ahaya? Again, that's because Ahaya is not the Father's name. But let's read further. So now we're at Shemut, or Exodus chapter 3, verse 13. First we're going to read it in the Hebrew. Uyamar Moshe al Elohim hene anoki ba'al b'nei Yisrael u'amarti lehem Elohai abotikem shalakni alechem u'amaru li ma shemu ma amar Elohim. Then Moses said to Elohim, if I come to the people of Israel and say to them, the Elohai of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? Now this is something that most people miss. I know I missed it, and I have to thank Yahuah for using Minister DeAndre of Hires of the Promise Ministries. He has a channel here on YouTube. He brought it to my attention that Moses was asking two questions in this verse. Now, if you're like Arnold, you're going to say,
What you talking about?
let me explain. From this verse, we can see that Moses is asking two questions. He's asking, what is your name? And he's also asking the Most High, what shall I say to the people? Now, as we read on, we're going to see that the Most High answers both of these questions, but he answers them in reverse. He answers Moses' second question first, and then the first question of what is your name, he will answer as we get into verse 15. So let's go on into the next verse, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So now we're at Shemut, or Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, and in the Hebrew it reads, Yamar Elohim al Moshe, Ahaya Asher Ahaya, Uyamar Ka Ta'amar Lebene Yashrael, Ahaya Shalakni Alechem. Elohim said to Moses, I am who I am, and he said, say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. So what he's doing here is he's answering Moses' second question, which is, what shall I say to the people? He's telling Moses what to say. He's not revealing his name as yet, but he's telling them the authority behind the name. By saying Ahaya, he's saying, I will be, or I am. And this is very similar language to what we find in Hazun, or Revelation chapter 1, verse 8, where the Most High is revealing to Yahuah or John when he says, I am Alpha and Omega, or more properly, I am Aleph and Ta, the beginning and the ending, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. That's basically what Yahuah is saying here. That's what he's saying. He's giving his authority at this time, not his name. Now we're going to look at our last verse, which is Shemut, or Exodus chapter 3, verse 15. In the Hebrew it says, Uyamar ud Elohim al Moshe, Ka ta'amar al bnei Yashrael, Yahuah Elohai abotikhem, Elohai Abraham, Elohai Yitzhak, Elohai Yaakov, Shalakni Alechem, Ze Shemi Leolam, Uze Zekri Ledur Edur. Elohim also said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel, Yahuah, Elohai of your fathers, Elohai of Abraham, Elohai of Isaac, Elohai of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and thus I am to be remembered throughout all generations. So we can see that it is here in this verse that he answers Moses' first question, which is, what is your name? And he identifies it here. We don't have to guess. He says, this is my name, Yahuah, the Yod, the He, the Wah, and the He. So Arnold, do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The New Testament is opposite Yah, and Yah is not in it. Period. Shalom.